believe we are live now. So,
Okay.
hello everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of Radio Kart, where we have a lot to discuss, Nelson, after an exciting weekend of racing.
Yep, like we said last time we broadcast, it's that time of month, it's that time of year where everyone's getting ready for the big races. We actually had the first of the big races just like last week with the Elkhart Grand Prix, and a lot of other stuff too coming up, like Rock Island. Davenport Kart Club opens up soon. We'll be talking about that. Anything else, Joseph?
Well, just a lot of news, I guess, surrounding these big
yeah.
events, and 61 still they have one more race coming up, obviously, so we're still going to have that to talk about, and some other things. A little shake-up in the points, I think, but nothing too big across the board after last weekend, so it's things are getting interesting all around the racing world as honestly, we're nearing the end of the season, if you think about it. Probably only 2 months left of racing to go, and the biggest event of the year coming up, like you said, Rock Island. So, a lot to discuss.
Definitely. Let's jump right into things with the results. Starting with 61 Kartway here. Trevin Timmons won in Kid Kart, while the Junior Sportsman category was won by Josh Carlson. Gage Kemp yet again with another dominant performance in Junior 206. Junior 1 was won by Miles Doherty. Aaron Dunn winning yet again in Senior Supercan. And Scott Geitzenauer in Senior 206.
Yeah, that is a first-time winner in that 206 class now. So not that we're surprised. We were going to see one, it looked like, regardless of what happened last weekend. But are you surprised at all that Scott was the guy that came out on top of everybody?
To be honest, I am. I was actually expecting a very strong performance from John Shaw.
Yeah.
But it almost seemed like he actually lost a bit of speed in the feature because I was actually stuck behind him.
Yeah.
I was even faster than Shaw. So, no, quite shocking. But, no, he's definitely a very talented racer. So, I would say shocking in the fact that it has occurred at this point, but I think he would have ended up winning at some point anyways.
Yeah, Scott knew. He's only been around for 2 races now, so this is his second race at 61, and quite the performance to get a win and beat guys like Thor and Shaw and yourself. So we'll keep an eye on him next week and see how it goes, but moving on our results list, Nelson, we've got big results.
Well, before we get into the big results, I just want to go over Concept Hauler Motor Speedway real quick.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no, we'll get into that. Don't worry. So at Concept Hauler Motor Speedway, 206 Junior was won by Logan Lomar, 206 Masters by Bob Kaminsky, 206 Sportsman by Josh Fine, and Kid Kart by Joseph Boland. However, 206 Senior was a bit of an interesting race.
Oh, yeah.
Logan Smith won that event, but looking at the results of the 9 karts entered in that, 5 of them were actually retired or disqualified.
Yeah, there's 3 DNFs and 2 DQs when we went back and looked at the results. So obviously something big happened in that race, Nelson, and we'll have to ask Logan if we see him anytime soon, or maybe Randy, and get the scoop on what happened in that 206 Senior race.
Definitely. It just seems like all around last weekend, or the last time racing for everyone, some crazy stuff was going on.
Yeah.
Got my own share of adventures from racing at 61, and I'm sure you've got your tales from Elkhart too.
Oh, yeah.
So, the last thing of results that we got, all of the class results actually for the Elkhart Grand Prix.
Yeah, they had I believe 9 different classes, Nelson, and a couple of them were combined together, so we just took the overall winners in those classes, like Yamaha Masters and Yamaha Heavy B were combined into one, as well as Juniors and Yamaha Medium. We took the overall winners. So we'll jump right into those results now and talk about what was probably the biggest race of the weekend.
Yes. So, starting things off here, the Honda 80cc shifter category was won by Zach Schiff. The 206 Masters by Michael Welsh. Yamaha Heavy A by 61 Kartway's very own Tony Nielsen. The Briggs 206 Heavy A by Alan Bonetrigger. and the Tag Senior and Masters were combined, and that was won by Cameron Parr.
Mm-hmm.
Yamaha Medium and Junior was also another combined category, and that was won by Tim Hollowell. 206 Heavy B was won by Alan Borntrager, meaning that he has won both heavy races at Elkhart.
Clean sweep.
Yep, quite a performance. And then the 125cc shifter was won by Joe Ruck.
Mm-hmm.
Yamaha Heavy B and Yamaha Heavy B and Masters, another combined category, was won by Mike Dittmer. And then the endurance race for the 206, which we've been talking about a lot, was won by Dustin Corder.
Yeah, very interesting history made at Elkhart this last weekend with that endurance race. The first ever karting endurance race to be held on a street course. So find that very interesting that hasn't been done anywhere before, Nelson.
Yeah, I was quite shocked myself. I mean, it just seems like two things that you would think would have happened at some point. But no, it's cool seeing history made like this. And I would have loved to have participated in that. I hear there were some kind of strange last-minute rule changes with that race, though.
Yeah, so the race was originally going to be 2 hours long on their website, is what it had said, and they changed it when we got there to an hour-and-a-half race, which wasn't really a big deal, an hour and a half.
Yeah,
I think most people, big endurance factor. You got to make a pit stop somewhere. But during the race, actually at the end of the race, they decided to end it at an hour and 10 minutes. So the race ended up only being 70 minutes long, but still, you think about it, it's a long time, especially on a street course to go.
90 laps.
Yeah.
Now, also, they didn't give the drivers any warning about this 70-minute ending time. Like, they just decided that midway through the race.
Yeah, I believe they just decided that at a certain point they had run long enough to determine the results and that nobody was going to catch anybody else. And so they decided to throw the checkered flag. But it was an interesting race, to say the least. A mechanical failure on Alan Bontrager's kart prevented him from winning the race. He actually got second and had to drive with the issue with his throttle cable that he was having. So it was a really interesting race, and it was a lot of fun to watch. I kind of wish I could have been a part of it, Nelson, but I was way too scared to tear the kart up in an endurance race for Sunday.
Yeah, but you can kind of look at it, too, as being like extra seat time, especially since it's so long.
And I think that's exactly why Alan Bontrager swept the 206 categories on Sunday, because he had so much more track time than anybody else. The guy's such a great driver to begin with. He really put on a performance Sunday, and I think that extra 70 minutes of track time, really helped him hit his marks and get the line down that he needed to have the win.
Definitely. Yeah, that wraps it up for our results segment. We've still got a lot of other stuff we want to talk about at Elkhart there. Yeah,
so Elkhart is definitely back on the map, Nelson. It has a huge following. They predict over 10,000 spectators showed up throughout the weekend on Saturday and Sunday to watch the go-kart races, which, if you compare that to Rock Island normally gets between 5,000 to 10,000 spectators on the weekend. So, first of all you that come out to Rock Island have got a challenge to get more spectators out there and keep this place as the biggest spectator race in North America for karting. But honestly, it was a great venue, beautiful park area that they had the race in, river running down the track. The track itself was amazing. You had to have some balls, I'll say, to really drive the track. A 3-block long straightaway, downhill into a hairpin, some S's on the back side of the track, a 90-degree Rock Island-like corner, and another hairpin before you got onto the front straightaway. Track was crazy. It was rough, but it was fun. And I think a lot of the racers really enjoyed the racing that happened throughout the weekend.
Yeah, and I've watched a lot of onboard footage of the track, and it may certainly sound simple with only 2 hairpin turns, a set of S's, and a 90-degree left-hander like that. But really, watching the onboards, and just how unsettled the karts are under braking, and how fast it is with a 3-block long straight. It's quite nerve wracking by the looks of it, anyways.
Oh yeah.
And no, it just looking at it, it looks like an all around great event, like you were saying, very picturesque.
Yeah.
Picturesque with the with the park nearby, and then just the fact that the track itself is so challenging with the tight braking zones after the long straights,
Mm-hmm.
and then of course the support it got from Elkhart itself. It just sounded like an all around great event.
You know, the fact that the city is the reason this race went on is part of the reason why it was such a huge success. The city really wanted to bring this race back after 22 years of it not being there. And I think if you look at it at like a race like Rock Island, the city isn't as involved as it could be.
Yeah.
And that's maybe a reason why you don't see as many spectators at that race. But I think about it. You had concerts going on during the race. That drew spectators. There was food there, all sorts of food and stuff there. You know, the flagman that did the race. I saw kids going around imitating the flagman all day because he was so exciting and so fun. He'll be at Rock Island, by the way, so it'll be fun to watch him there flagging and be a part of that race. But overall, just a great event and a great venue to have a street race. You know, USAC obviously putting the event on. They're a pretty big name in motorsport.
Oh, yeah.
And obviously there's some things they have to work on for next year if they want this event to continue to be successful. There wasn't great security on some things like pit passes. Some spectators were just able to get in the pits really easy and stuff like that. And like starts, you know, some of us started on the back side of the track. Some classes started on the front side of the track. So almost like a mid-Ohio start for IndyCar for 206 and Yamaha classes. Shifter classes started on the front side of the track. So I don't know how that worked for spectators, if they completely understood what was going on there and whatnot. But I think there's a couple things they can improve on. But the things they really got down, the safety of the track was where it needed to be. They put in the hairpins like they needed to. They didn't put in any chicanes, which I was a fan of, because chicanes are really a spot where people normally get hurt. And
they just don't work that well in karting in general.
Yeah. So I think they did a really good job making the track safe, making it a fun event. And really, I'm looking forward to going back again next year. It's going to be an awesome time.
Yeah. Now, my big takeaways from everything I've heard and seen about Elkhart is that it seems like this will be around for a long time. It's kind of going into this. I remember you and I were talking about some issues that they might have, about how Rock Island is already so well established, and how this takes place literally within a month of Rock Island. It's like, can karting really support two big street races like that? And then the whole thing with USAC and the Brickyard, like that was not the most well organized event. Yeah, like would that carry over to Elkhart then? And then one last thing, and being embraced by the community and the city. It's like, well, how would that go? But no, it seems like everything was a positive here, and that this event will have a very long future out of it.
Yeah, I mean, as far as the city goes, the city completely embraced this event. The city is the reason this event happened. The mayor said part of the reason he got elected mayor was to help bring this race back. So, I mean, the city had a huge role in the success of this event.
Yeah.
And as a driver, I can't thank the city enough and the people enough for putting on such a great event. As far as USAC and their problems at the Brickyard, I think they learned a lot from that.
Yeah.
Obviously, having a beautiful weekend and no rain helped with that a lot. I don't know what they would have done if it would have rained. I don't think they were prepared for a rain race. But maybe that's an issue they plan on addressing next year. And as far as, I mean, the planning of the event goes and the scheduling went, I mean, every class got 4 rounds of practice, which is pretty unprecedented at a street race. You think of Rock Island, every class gets 3 rounds of practice at Rock Island. So that extra round of practice, especially for like the shifter guys and stuff, was probably much appreciated and was a lot of fun to be a part of as a driver. More track time, the more fun I have. So, you know, I think USAC learned a lot from their Brickyard experience, obviously. And then the longevity of this event, we were saying it's not as well established as Rock Island. Well,
at least not recently.
Not recently.
Yeah.
But I don't think they're going to have a problem getting this thing going again next year. I mean,
Yeah.
I think it was a huge boost for the city in terms of, economically and
Right.
all that stuff goes. And with it being in the same month as Rock Island, I talked to Tony Nielsen a little bit, Dittmer, those guys that are going to be racing at Rock Island here at the beginning of September. And I think we all pretty much agreed we learned so much running at Elkhart that we can use at Rock Island. Like, we feel like having that race so close to Rock Island really helps it because, weather conditions are obviously going to be hopefully fairly similar.
Mm-hmm.
But, the fact that we were able to practice things like the standstill starts, that's something you don't get to practice every day.
Yeah, or just the general notion of driving that close to a wall. You don't get that.
Driving that close to a wall. Exactly. Obviously, we won't have braking zones at Rock Island. But,
Right.
you think of the roughness of the track, I think
that's another carryover there, too.
Yeah, you're kind of prepared for Rock Island is going to beat me up this much probably as well, if not more, with the higher speeds. So I think having the two races that close together is actually great because I think you'll get a lot of people that carry over between the two that want to run both in preparation for one or the other. And I think it's going to be around for a long time to come. And I think it's going to make the month of August and the beginning of September an exciting time of the year for us for years to come, hopefully.
Definitely. And the only negative, I guess, if you could call it that I could think of about this was, at least it seemed like compared to Rock Island anyways, you didn't have as many karts entered. But I think that's his first-year jitters.
Yeah.
Really, this won't be an issue in the future. It's just this kind of popped up out of nowhere almost, and a lot of people are like, oh, well, I haven't had time to plan. I haven't had time to get ready. So with this now being established and having a year under its belt, I could see attendance by the drivers not being an issue.
And I think two of the things they need to do, they need to keep it on the same weekend so that people can plan for that. But I think, as far as people not showing up, people didn't know what to expect, obviously. The track had never been run before.
Yeah.
We didn't even know what the track was going to look like until we showed up on Saturday morning.
Yeah, you had that story, actually. You were telling me about how basically a hairpin just appeared out of nowhere on the
I thought there was one hairpin on the track, and I went on the last corner, and lo and behold, there was two hairpins on the track, and I missed my mark in the corner by about 20 feet and had to make the corner somehow, but it's okay. I'm pretty sure Dittmer didn't know it was there too, so I followed his line, and it's his fault, not mine.
Oh yeah, right. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Blame who's ahead of you.
Yeah, exactly.
Always the best course of action.
Following the guy ahead of me. But in terms of this race, it was a great event. I'm obviously looking forward to it next year. I wouldn't be surprised if kart numbers doubled next year.
Yeah, at least.
Yeah.
I could see this rivaling Rock Island easily.
Well, people say eKarting News kind of has a famous saying on their podcasts of once you get the competitors, you have a good establishment, and then you bring in more competitors to the race. Like, you want to race where there are racers. So normally when you have 20 will bring 30, 30 will bring 40, and so on. But I think in this case, yes, we already had the 20 competitors in Briggs 206, and we'll probably have 30 next year in 206. But I think more the point is there was 10,000 spectators there. And who doesn't love racing in front of fans, in front of spectators? I think everybody does, The crowd cheering for you after a win is always a nice feeling. That's part of the reason why we love Rock Island so much, is because, if you think about it, the track configuration is simple, quotation marks. It's a lot harder than it looks.
Yeah.
But racing in front of a crowd is always fun, too. It's a lot different than going to a club race or a national event where it's just the mechanics and crews that are normally watching you. So I think that's part of the reason this race is going to grow so much more in the future, and I wouldn't be surprised if it ends up going back on TV at some point.
Definitely. So I think that about wraps up what we had to say about Elkhart, unless you wanted to cover anything else.
No, I can't think of anything else. A great event, and, I hear you're thinking about running it next year.
Yeah, definitely. No, I want to try a lot more stuff next year. I got to do Brickyard at some point.
Yeah.
That's literally on my bucket list. I want to compete at Indianapolis Motor Speedway to some capacity.
Yeah.
In my lifetime. So, no, that and Elkhart. I would definitely love to do this next year.
I will add one thing. Another reason they got so many competitors, that Hoosier tire deal they had.
Yeah.
Huge reason a lot of competitors. I think if you think about it, if I would have won both of my races last weekend, I would have been in the green by like $600. That's not counting hotel costs. So then after that, probably like $100 or $200.
But still,
I would have been in the green versus at most street races where you're not given that set of tires. You'd probably still be in the red after winning or breaking even. So I think that Hoosier tire deal really helped them be successful too.
Definitely. So shifting gears slightly here and moving on to Rock Island.
Ooh.
Yeah, we have some news about kind of how that's going to be presented, I guess you could say.
Yeah. Well, first of all, their last meeting for the Rock Island Grand Prix was last night. So they kind of got everything sorted out there, Nelson. I was at the meeting. And, there's a couple issues going around. Shifter kart guys are trying to there's a shifter kart class, 2 different shifter kart classes, an A and a B. Like there's a 206 heavy A and a B.
Yeah.
And the idea was they'd run on the same tires. Shifter kart guys don't want to do that because they feel like they wear through tires so fast that someone could enter just a B race and just murder everybody because they have faster tires. So there's a little bit of an issue going around with that, trying to solve that, see what's best for the competitors, what they want to do. So that's being worked on right now. But in the exciting news department, Facebook Live and what's going on there. eKarting News is going to be helping put this on, I believe, and there's going to be a live broadcast via Facebook Live that you can access through Rock Island's Facebook page or their website, I believe.
Yeah. Now, we don't know all the details about this, but the fact that it's going to have a broadcast like this is that was actually mine. But no, the fact that Rock Island's going to have a broadcast like this is amazing news. And, like we were just talking about Elkhart and how, being broadcast on TV. When you look at so many sporting events these days, it's about broadcasting the event online, it seems like anymore, especially with like NBC Sports and ESPN and how they kind of specialize in having apps or broadcasts through their website. Kind of taking a leap into the 21st century here. They're really embracing this social media broadcasting.
And I think you think about it, the EKN has always had that live radio broadcast, which has been awesome. Yeah. I think that's always been awesome. And then you can follow along on the, the MyLapse timing normally and see who's going fast and stuff. That's always pretty cool to watch. But Facebook Live, having the actual pictures of what's going on at the event will be really cool. They're bringing in some sort of new graphics package or something, according to what I read on the website. I think they're trying to mix it in with the announcing. I'm not sure if that's going to happen. There's a lot of new things here, and it could be pretty good from what I've heard, or it could be something that they really need to work on. But it's exciting that they're trying something to bring this into the 21st century, like you said.
Yeah, I mean, like, trying to compare it to IndyCar, of course, when they show the races on NBC, you have the qualifying and the race itself on NBC Sports and the radio option. But for all the practice sessions and warm-up on Sunday morning, something IndyCar will do is they'll stream it on YouTube and overlay that with the radio broadcast. And they'll actually let the radio broadcasters look at the feed too, so it perfectly lines up with what they're talking about.
Yeah. I mean, I'm excited. I'm excited for my friends and my family who can't make it to the race to be able to tune in on Facebook as well. It'll be really cool to be able to give them a link to the page and, hey, I'm racing at this time, watch my race. And hopefully they'll get to see my kart and stuff like that. But it'll be very interesting. I don't know if they're going to use multiple cameras or if they're just going to have one camera. There was a thing in their press release that they were going to try and mix in some driver interviews in there.
Oh, that'll be fun.
So that'll be interesting. I know last year eKarting News did a little bit of Facebook Live stuff, and like on the pre-grid, and they asked Tony Nielsen and Cal Stewart some questions, and even Matt Payway got asked a couple questions, and they walked by you and me because they knew we were too famous. But
oh yeah, no, that's the reason.
You know, they want us getting swamped or anything by fans, Nelson. So, but yeah, they interviewed a couple of guys. I think Anthony Honeywell and Yamaha and Tag they interviewed. So, I'm excited for what it brings, and hopefully it's a cool addition to the Rock Island Grand Prix, and hopefully it can be used in karting later on down the road for more events.
Definitely, yes. And anything else regarding Rock Island? Oh, right. Regarding a discount for sign up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that the prices will increase this Friday. So if you still haven't signed up yet,
you need to get signed up, guys.
Yeah.
You need to get signed up. Don't pay the extra $50 because I want to see a week out what the weather's gonna be like. No, sign up now. Don't pay the extra $50 and go have some fun racing at Rock Island. It's that simple, you know. It's pay your entry fee now. Bite the bullet now and pay the entry fee and go have fun.
Stop yelling at me to sign up. I haven't done it yet, but I'm gonna.
Well, you're in trouble for not signing up because of other reasons, but yeah, you know.
Yeah.
Get that done. Seriously, you know, time's running out on you for that cheaper sign up. Get out there and get signed up. Some of the numbers are looking strong already. I've already heard of 20 plus karts in the Briggs 206 classes. So get out there and get signed up. It's always a must-do race of the year. It's always one of the biggest races of the year. Last year, 38 karts in the field. Let's try and break that this year and get over 40.
Exactly. It sounds like we'll have about that. And another thing about that is sign up for it this year because it sounds like they could potentially be putting a cap on that for future seasons.
Yeah, you know, with these numbers growing and getting bigger, the caps on classes may be inevitable to have happen. So get signed up this year so you know you can race versus signing up next year and all of a sudden you're like the 31st entry or something and all of a sudden you got to qualify your way into the race. So get signed up this year.
Yep, let's try and get a monster grid out there of like 60 karts.
Oh my gosh.
That would be something crazy.
You know, I don't think we ever have a problem getting a monster grid out there, but 60 karts would be insane. It would be absolutely insane.
That would be like a continuous snake around the whole track almost.
Yeah. No, lap traffic would be an issue.
Yeah. I don't think you would ever not have lap traffic.
Yeah, you would it'd be turn 1 would be interesting for sure. Yeah. I don't know how that would go. But I wouldn't want to be in the back for sure.
Definitely, yeah. So yeah, that about wraps up our Rock Island Grand Prix segment here. I want to talk a little bit about Davenport Kart Club. So we have talked about this venue in the past, but just kind of a reminder, they're going to be opening that up for practice this weekend and next weekend ahead of their inaugural season, which begins in September.
Yeah, so open practice on Saturday and Sunday for those of you that want to go out and try the Davenport Kart track. Of course, if you're me, you would go on Saturday and then race on Sunday at 61. That would be kind of a cool deal if you did that. Yeah. But they're opening this weekend, Saturday and Sunday. As far as practice goes, you can run Hoosier R60 tires. You can run Bridgestone YLC tires. The MG red tires are what they're going to require for their club racing. So those are tires you need to buy for club racing at the Davenport Kart track. But a pretty open tire roll when it comes to the practice laps. People are going to be turning there here in a couple of days.
Yeah, and you know, if you're still kind of torn between this place and 61, these red tires that they're requiring you to use at Davenport are perfectly legal at 61.
Yeah, you can run those at either track.
Yeah, now I've kind of heard that they might be a little bit harder than the other tires at 61, but for the most part, you can still be competitive. So if you like the idea of competing at 61 and Davenport, just get yourself a set of these red tires and race both Saturday and Sunday.
And you know, I think the only reason we haven't seen someone win on MG red tires yet this year, Nelson, is because nobody runs them. Yeah. I mean, I think if somebody ran them, we'd see somebody win on them eventually. But all the other tire brands have gotten a win this year at 61. MG Reds are the only one without it. So It's just a matter of getting somebody in there that runs them, and I think they'll get a win because nobody runs them right now.
Right, and that's what I was saying before. Like, I've heard that they're not as fast as the others. But like Joseph was saying, no one has really run them, so I haven't actually seen proof of this. So they could be perfectly fine compared to everything else.
Yeah. Obviously, their track configuration is posted online, so that's been posted. It's 8 turns. It sounds like the straightaway is a little bit, their front straightaway is a little bit longer than Concept Hauler's front straightaway. So gearing-wise, if you're wondering on that, throw on a gearing similar to CHMS for a starting point, I would say, Nelson, and go from there. But it's looking like a very interesting track, and they should be getting it set up pretty much, I guess, as we speak. I was going to go down to the fairgrounds and hopefully check out and see what progress they've made so far.
Yeah, on the topic of gear ratios, from what I understand about the length and the track map, in my opinion, it actually looks like you would be pretty close if you ran something that's due at 61 even. Mm-hmm. But no, it's a totally new track. And the other thing about grip too, and about gearing too, is grip. How much grip is on the track. So
with karts with this being the first time karts are on the surface, the track's probably going to be lacking a little bit of grip. So I would say give it a few laps, let drivers get out there, and it'll probably gain grip as the track gets rubber on it and so forth. It'll be interesting to see. I got to get out there and at least watch a race or something to see how it goes down. I would like to think I'm going to be in a race out there. They're going to be running clone and 206 together. So if you got an old clone motor, which I have, put it on a cart and go out there and race at the Davenport kart track. Or if you have a 206, bring it out there as well. They're going to convert everybody to 206 at some point, but they're mixing those clones in for now to get started out.
Yeah, kind of like easing them in or to help with grid numbers too, because not everyone has a 206 still, as popular as it is. So
yeah, I would have thought with McDonald's changing this year and Owens is changing, everybody had a 206, but apparently not.
Yeah,
not everybody has one.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for a clone to buy, I think Nelson and I and Thor and Jason are your man right now.
That is true, though. I have no idea what shape mine are in. They've literally been sitting in the garage. Like, just sitting there. I haven't touched them. But, yeah, I would probably be willing to sell that, or at least parts of it.
So, that concludes, I guess, the news we have at the Davenport kart track.
Yeah.
One thing I wanted to say here, Nelson, before I guess we conclude our show, because we're getting near the end here, right? Rock Island's looking for volunteers.
Oh, yeah.
They're always looking for volunteers, and they really need help with volunteers. Friday night setting it up the track, but like Sunday night tearing down the track, they need volunteers. Saturday with regular stuff, they need volunteers. The Tuesday and Wednesday before and after, they need volunteers to come and help and put stuff back in the basement of the Argus and take stuff out of the basement of the Argus and stuff. So they're always looking for volunteers. So if you got some free time during the week of Rock Island, starting on Tuesday and going to the next Tuesday, if you have any free time in there, go out and help them.
Yeah, because being a street circuit and all, these are public roads that everyone drives on and stuff. You gotta the walls, the barriers. This all gotta be torn down as quick as possible, so no one's route is hindered and stuff on the way to work or whatever. So yeah, if you got the time, go out and help tear or put that stuff down or up.
What makes street racing successful is the volunteers and the community around street races. Is the one thing I've learned going to Rock Island and the Elkhart this past weekend. So the community needs to back this event. And that'll keep us racers coming and having a great time at this event, and hopefully spectators having a great time at it as well. So get out there Labor Day weekend and have fun with us. I think this may be our last episode for a while, Nelson.
Very well could be.
Because I'll be back at school next week, and I don't know if you'll continue the show without me or what, but
I don't know. That would be kind of lonely just sitting there broadcasting all by myself.
Could get Brother Pease to help you
out
or something. but
Did you
nobody.
call him Brother Peace?
Well, you called him at first in the group chat, so.
Oh my, okay, so we're talking about that here now.
Yeah,
Okay, that's great.
Anyway, this is Joseph Rapp.
And this is Nelson Ulinsky, the guy that started the term Brother Peas, for bringing that up now.
So long from our latest edition of Radio Kart, and we look forward to seeing you in Rock Island in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, so check us out in the pits. We're friendly guys. We're not gonna bite, so yeah, come talk with us. And if you don't do that, I'm not sure when we'll be broadcasting again, but we've been enjoying this. So even if it's really far down the road, Radio Kart will definitely be back.
Yeah, it'll be back. Hopefully on a Wednesday afternoon at 4 o'clock. We'll be broadcasting at some point here in the future, or maybe we'll have a special episode for you guys at Rock Island. You never know.
Yeah, if we do that, we'll post the details on Facebook. So yeah, check that regularly for updates, and we'll see what we can work out.
So long for now, and see you later, guys.